What's up everyone, subscribe my channel Ride Rev. Today we're diving deep into one of the most iconic heavy-duty trucks that ever rolled off the assembly line, the 1967 Ford F-250 Highboy. This isn't just another old pickup, this is a machine that defined an era, a truck that set a standard for ruggedness, durability, and power at a time when America was just beginning to fall in love with the concept of big 4x4 workhorses. The Highboy was never just about transportation, it was a lifestyle, a badge of honor for the hardworking men and women who needed a vehicle that could handle the toughest jobs, the roughest trails, and still look like it belonged parked in front of a diner on a Friday night. Now, let's talk about why the 1967 F-250 Highboy still carries such legendary weight in the automotive world. The first thing you have to know is that this was the very beginning of the fifth generation of the F-Series. Ford wasn't just redesigning a truck, they were reshaping what it meant to own one. The Highboy nickname itself wasn't official, it came from enthusiasts who noticed the taller ride height compared to other trucks of the era. Because of the divorced transfer case and front suspension setup, the F-254X4 rode higher, giving it that aggressive stance straight from the factory. That taller frame clearance was more than looks, it meant this truck could handle terrain that would leave others stranded. It was basically Ford saying, "This is the real deal." Under the hood, the 1967 Highboy offered a variety of engines, but one of the most admired setups was the 352 cubic inch V8. With raw torque delivery and bulletproof engineering, it wasn't about sports car speed, it was about the kind of power you need when pulling trailers, hauling lumber, or climbing steep mountain paths without hesitation. That engine sound, that deep rumble, it's the kind of mechanical heartbeat that resonates with gearheads even today. And paired with the 4-speed manual transmission, driving a Highboy meant you were fully engaged, every shift reminding you that this wasn't just a commuter, it was a machine built for men and women who understood grit. The design of the 67 F-250 was also a step forward. Ford gave it cleaner lines, a wider stance, and a look that was both tough and stylish. The twin-beam front suspension, which Ford had been perfecting, was another leap in durability. Inside, the truck was still Spartan compared to modern pickups, but that was the point. These trucks weren't about luxury, they were about trust. Every knob, every lever, every gauge had a purpose. No wasted space, no gimmicks. It was all business. What makes the 1967 Highboy so valuable today is not just its engineering, but the culture it represents. Back in the late 60s, America was expanding highways, building suburbs, and pushing into rural areas where a tough truck wasn't a luxury, it was a necessity. Farmers, ranchers, construction crews, and adventurers all relied on trucks like the Highboy to get it done. Fast forward to today, collectors and enthusiasts hunt down these models not just for nostalgia, but because they represent a time when trucks were built like iron, built to last generations. Restored Highboys can fetch jaw-dropping prices at auctions, and original survivors are treated like treasures. But beyond the market value, it's the emotional connection that drives the passion. Owning a Highboy isn't about owning a truck, it's about owning a piece of American history. It's about firing up that V8 on a cold morning, hearing the choke kick in, and feeling the truck rumble as it settles into idle. It's about climbing into that cab, gripping the big steering wheel, and knowing that you're behind the wheel of something real, something raw, something that modern technology can't quite replicate. In 2026, when we look back at the 1967 F-250 Highboy, it's clear why it remains one of the most respected classics. It represents toughness, authenticity, and a time when trucks were more than lifestyle accessories, they were survival tools, they were partners in labor, and they were symbols of pride. So when you see one rumbling down the road today, restored to perfection or still rocking its original dents and scratches, remember that you're looking at one of the pillars of truck history. So that's the story of the 1967 Ford F-250 Highboy, a truck that still stands tall, literally and figuratively, over half a century later. What's up everyone, don't forget to subscribe to my channel Ride Rev, because we're bringing you the most legendary rides, the rarest machines, and the deepest stories behind the wheels that shaped our world.